What is happening to the multiverse, everyone? It's a crazy time. Wild things are happening. We're getting convergences all over the place. We've even got 3 hosts today. What is happening? Hello.
My word.
Hello. Guys, I am the Gentlemanly Gamer, coming to you live from the Undisputed Podcast studio of virtual studio-ness with my regular co-host Zane. And what's that you hear, listeners or viewers, depending on what you're watching this on? We've got another, let's call him recurring co-host. Drac is joining us again. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening to you both. Thanks for inviting me once more.
Evening.
Zane, how are you doing this evening, sir? Are you still feeling bright and chipper after your holiday away with Batfleck?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for asking.
You're very welcome. It's all right. I know he can be a rough lover, so I just wanted to check in on you. And Drac, are you doing all right this evening?
Yeah, I think that's the carbon fibre. Yes, I'm absolutely fine. Thank you.
So many. The mind is boggling. I'm fine as well. Thanks for asking, guys. Cheers. Much appreciated.
Sorry. Yes.
Anyway, moving on. Guys, we are coming at you live on YouTube. For everyone watching on the other podcast mediums that you have downloaded this on, thank you very much for listening to us. We are going to be covering quite a lot of stuff tonight. So we're doing a review of episode 4 of What If. That was an amazing bottom lip, Drac. Thanks for that. And we're also going to be doing all the hottest tips and bits from the week of Nerd.
Ooh.
So, gentlemen, they have I have prepared the news this week. They have no idea what is coming. So should we dive in with some hot tips and bits?
Absolutely. Live on YouTube as well. Ooh.
Oh, yes, we are live on YouTube. Ooh. Yes. Feel free to drop us a comment whilst you're here, as long as it's clean. So I'm going to start with a bit of crazy news that I didn't even see until this week. I didn't even realize this was happening. We're into some gaming news, fellas.
Oh, wow.
And I know we're all avid gamers here. It has been revealed the first gameplay trailer has dropped for Marvel's Midnight Suns.
It has, yes.
Have you seen this, Zane? Have you seen this, Drac? I'm assuming Drac has, as he was very quick to be like, yeah, it's here. Firaxis Games, so they are the people behind XCOM and Civilization. It looks really good. I'm like super excited for this. It's like Marvel, but like XCOM, but like Marvel. And it looks like they're doing a bit of a supernatural take.
You see, that's the weird thing. Like, I keep hearing people compare it to XCOM, but I never played XCOM, so I've got no idea. Like, to me, it looks like Dragon Age.
Yeah, yeah. It's a bit more third-personally than top-down, I think, like XCOM. But I also didn't play that. I'm just aware of it.
Cool. I'm glad I used that as the first bit of news to bring up today, guys. That was a winner on my part.
No, I mean, it looks good. Midnight Suns is one of those things that they haven't really done a title for like quite some time, but it's got like a bit of a cult following in terms of like the membership. Although it seems to be like Midnight Suns plus every other Marvel hero that you've seen, Iron Man, Captain America, cool, like no problem. Not really Midnight Suns, but fine, I get it. You've got money to make.
I pictured the game developers just looking at it going, can we sell this on the strength of Blade and some other mystical characters?
Oh, here's
Captain America, that'll do. Yeah, because Captain Marvel's in it as well. And I was like, what the hell is that? Like, why is Captain Marvel in this? But Wolverine is in it as well, which I thought was particularly...
I think he was in the Midnight Suns, wasn't he? From what I can remember.
I'm pretty sure he was in the gang. But it's like you said, like it's almost like I don't think normies will get what this is. Chuck and Steve, they won't mind. It's Steve Rogers. Everyone loves it.
Let's magic him up a little bit. Let's give him a cape.
Let's shush him up.
Yeah, shush him up. Yeah, I can
Magical bougie.
I can confirm as well as I currently work for a software company, we do refer to customers as normies. So I'm excited for this game. It looks good. I won't comment on Marvel Future Revolution, which I've also been playing this week quite what can I say, addictively. And Drac has also been playing and is not addicted to it. So there we go. That's happy days.
Well, you say that, but I think right now I might be a few levels ahead of you. So I think addiction is all relative, isn't it, at the end of the day? Not that that's a casual brag. I mean, it kind of is.
What an absolute show-off. Did you hear that, guys? You heard it here first. All right, guys. Anyway, so yeah, I think we're all pretty much excited for Midnight Suns, aren't we? I think we are. This is going to be... it's just nice. It's just nice to see something different than a hack 'em slash and beat 'em up with a Marvel property. To be honest with you, that's what I'm most looking forward to. Because like there hasn't been anything apart from Marvel Future Revolution. There hasn't been anything like kind of like mainstream like game wise that hasn't been like punchy shooty for a while. And it's just because I loved Ultimate Alliance was still one of my favorite games ever. I know they did the Black Order, was it on the Wii? The third one on the not on the Wii, on the Switch. And that was not very good from what I can remember you saying to me, Drag.
I wasn't a big fan personally, no. It did not have I couldn't tell you specifically what character it lost, but it wasn't the same game as it was in like whenever it was, like the early or mid 2000s. I can't quite remember when the first couple of games came out.
Which is a shame because Ultimate Alliance was amazing. Was that one? Did you ever play, Zane? I don't know if it was one that you played.
I can't remember. I think I played it on PS2.
No, it was on Xbox 360 or PS3. I think it was on.
Yes,
it was one of the first games that came out on the 360. I remember that because that was one of the first games I was like, I have to get a 360 for this.
Wasn't there like DLC to get the Fantastic Four?
I think that was
not the original ones.
That was in the second one, I think.
The second one, yeah.
I don't think DLCs were really a thing like when it first came out. It was just like, here's your game. It's completely packaged. There you go. Like in the good old days, basically, gentlemen. And both of you, gentlemen, not just you. Jeej.
Thanks. I hate that you're calling me Jeej. I really hate that.
I had to come up with my
I should have called Zane Champagne Zane as well. I forgot to call him Champagne Zane at the beginning of the thing because that's going to stick. No. Well, listen, Drac, after what you sent me early on, just remember the cream rises to the top. Guys, that sounds really weird out of context, doesn't it?
It does, and yet we're not going to explain it. We're just going to leave it there.
All I'm going to say to Zane that he'll get it. Randy.
Yeah. That famous promo.
Yep.
There you go. You see, you got it instantly. You see. All right, moving on, guys. So we're going to talk about What If season 1 today with the review. However, there's been some news regarding What If season 2. So there has been a recent interview with the Direct, where one of the producers, the production designer, actually, Paul Lesane, I think I'm pronouncing that right. He basically dropped a massive tease about the second load of episodes that are coming. And he said that one of them revolves quite heavily around Black Widow. So there is an episode that is based on one of the movies that literally just came out with the woman with the red hair. And that's the quote that he gave.
Wow, how subtle and
I know.
specific.
I can't think of who that might be.
That embargo feels so heavy right now.
I know, it's crazy.
It's Pepper Potts.
It's going to be like, it's Cassie Lang. She's got red hair. Sure, I'll go for that.
What if Pepper Potts was strawberry blonde?
What if Pepper Potts released a candle that smelled like vagina? Oh dear. You two are supposed to control me. What's wrong with you? So anyway, speculation on that, guys. So it looks like they're going to be doing a Black Widow focused What If episode coming up. Any thoughts on what might be the convergent point that they say What If? My thoughts were, what if Black Widow dies when Taskmaster attacks her that first time, and then Yelena Belova has to kind of like fend her for herself. So they do a massive swerve because they hate Scarlett Johansson at the moment.
Yeah. Wow. Can you imagine? Yeah, I hadn't even considered that, but you're absolutely right. I mean, I think it could be that. It could be like, what if she stayed with the KGB? What if she was still with the Red Room? And never joined the Avengers, X, Y, and Z, and how the Red Room would react to the Avengers as a result. But I guess that's not too different from the current. What do you guys think?
I've got another thought. Zane, what's your thoughts?
It would have to be something. I feel like it would have to be like the Winter Soldier, but I'm just trying to think what was a pivotal point. It couldn't be the files being sent around or anything like that. I think it wasn't exactly a pivotal point. I would say something along the lines of Age of Ultron. Like, what if she fell out of a plane during trying to get Ultron's body?
On a commercial flight? What if she fell out of a plane?
Imagine.
I was just thinking, what if it could? So there's two in my mind that stick out as big what ifs. One, what if the bomb that she set to kill the guy never went off? So therefore, he continued on with his daughter fine.
Oh, I see. Yep.
So there could be that. Also, the second what if Ray Winston had a convincing Russian accent?
Shots fired.
Done. Boom.
Big time Ray.
big time Ray. What's the matter with her?
This guy smells fantastic.
So yeah, we're gonna get a Black Widow episode coming up, guys. So look out for that. I think I actually said second season. I didn't mean to say second season. My apologies. I meant to say second half of season 1 of What If. So that's coming up in the run of these ones. So yeah, my apologies. I misspoke on that one. So yeah, that's it's gonna be interesting. Let's see. It's very recent release to do a What If on, but.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a huge amount of material to draw from, and obviously we've seen that they're not dedicated to or not slavish to any existing What If comic books, which haven't actually come out for some time now. I've noticed they've kind of stopped publication of that. Last ones I remember really were like The Siege and Secret Invasion, which were like, again, like around 2010, I guess, maybe even before then or just after. Like even a long time.
Even Age of Ultron, that What If comic was about, I think, 2012, 2013. So yeah, it's been a long time. But then I read in a recent interview with Chip Zdarsky, because he's done that Shadow Spider series, which is like a what if. And he said they don't want to use the name because of
really
ties and stuff. Yeah. So that's why it was called Shadow Spider and not What If Spider-Man Symbiote.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's really random. I think I've been reading that one as well, actually. There's been a lot of, what if he had kept the symbiote kind of thing. And some of them I can't really make sense of because they're kind of like tangential rather than like other university. They don't really kind of specify if it's in the 616 universe. Like it's all been very, very hazy. So maybe they're just trying to explore as many other storylines as possible without kind of almost restricting themselves to the what if that makes sense. It's just like, here's another title with another hero. Now that the movies are so amazingly successful, it doesn't really matter what's in it anymore because it's just this well-known superhero, you know. But I'm psyched for it anyway. I'm interested to find out how they do break down the phases, because obviously this was meant to be, in theory, it kind of like we thought it was going to be like a phase 1-ish kind of replica, but then obviously you kind of got like Black Panther in there almost, you know, with T'Challa, but it's not a Black Panther episode, but it is in a strange way. So if they start season 2 and they suddenly skip to like Shang-Chi or something like that now, I'd be absolutely fine with it personally. I don't think it massively matters. Like time is happening all the time anyway, according to what's that? He Who Remains. Like time is a loop. All time is happening all the time. So really, it doesn't matter what phases they choose to do.
He's taking this nerd thing to a whole nother level, Zane. Did you see that? That was impressive.
I did see that.
Don't shame me.
Homework.
I know it's unbelievable. Good. Right. Moving on from What If. They'll probably. I would think they'll probably do an Eternals What If, is what I was going to say, in season 2, which will probably be around what if they did interfere. You know, that will probably be what it is. That would be my theory. Anyway, let's shift gears for a little bit, guys. Let's go to some DC news before I smash you back with some plethora of Marvel news. So it has come out this week. There was an interview with Patty Jenkins referring to Wonder Woman 1984 and the release.
Was it sorry?
What?
Was it sorry? Was it an apology?
Unbelievable. Wow. So much for recurring. Right. So yeah,
I feel very strongly about that. I didn't mean to interrupt your flow.
You did. You completely messed me up. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. Sorry. So Wonder Woman 1984 being made available on HBO Max. The director has referred to it as absolutely heartbreaking. And she's also now taken a swipe at straight to streaming content in general. So she has said, this was during an interview with the LA Times. They were basically asked, she described the movie as heartbreaking. And then during an interview with the LA Times, she elaborated on her feelings towards it. And this was the direct quote. Aren't you seeing it? all of the films that the streaming services are putting out, I'm sorry, they look like fake movies to me. I don't hear about them. I don't read about them. It's not working as a model for establishing legendary greatness. So,
Right.
to say that there's quite a lot of bitterness on Patty Jenkins' side would be an understatement.
What studio did you want to work for again? Just
yeah, no kidding, right? So I think it's safe to say that she probably will not be directing any more DC films, which is a shame because Wonder Woman, the first one's really good. 84, I think, is okay. I think it has its good moments, but it falls apart in places. Please just freeze frame that face, ladies and gentlemen, and keep that face on screen with Drac, what he's making right now. But yeah, I mean, thoughts, guys, on those comments? Do you agree with her that straight to streaming videos and films are not the way to go moving forward, and it's better off? I personally agree with her. I think we should have cinema releases. I've always thought that. But what are your thoughts on it?
After you, Zane.
Look, I knew she wasn't happy round about the time it was released anyway, because there was loads of comparisons to Tenet and Nolan and such. I don't know. If it was an incredible film, then I would say yes. But because it feels like a film that was made 20 years ago, but somehow came out this year, it deserved what it got. It's the brutal truth. Yeah. Like, yeah, you know, things like Bill and Ted 3, that's never going to make box office money. Like, it went straight to streaming. It had its place. It probably did good views on streaming, but
it didn't go straight to streaming. It didn't go straight to streaming. It had a cinema release.
I think it definitely had like a VOD in America because it was like available on Apple like straight away.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first films that did a joint release, like either you know, like Black Widow, Zane.
Yeah, like Black Widow.
Yeah, that's a very in joke, guys. My apologies if you listen back long enough. But yeah, Bill and Ted's a difficult example to use though because we're in the middle of a Renaissance. So you know, it was always. But I agree with you, Zane. It's a tricky time to. I don't know if we can you actually look at these kind of things realistically at the current present time that we speak in the moment and say like, yeah, this is where the industry's going. I think this is I personally think the streaming services and the release to streaming services in addition to the cinema is a very knee-jerk reaction from an industry that is currently in a nosedive because it doesn't know what to do after the pandemic. There's no two ways about it. I personally think some films are fine for streaming, like you get these Netflix films, but I don't see this being the future. I really don't. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean there are patterns in cinema that last years, and these are just very long trends. And for years, you know, obviously I am not the be-all and end-all representative of the cinema industry, but I have worked in one before for a couple of years, and as a result, there was a lot of conversation about how cinema is going to go because of the availability of HD platforms at home. And when I started working in cinema again, 3D was a big thing, and that was around for like I couldn't even tell you, like 3 or 4 years, and then that rapidly died off as a concept again, and everyone who was working in cinema kind of knew that. So there's always been threats to the cinema industry, and right now is interesting because it is an experiment in home, you know, the home movie experience and what money you can make with co-releases. But at the end of the day, everything has been a reaction to the pandemic. So whatever experiment you currently put in place doesn't seem normally representative of, like, you know, your average experience right now. And there are many people out there who are naturally still afraid. So we can comment on it, but it's not really until probably a couple more years down the line that we'll really see like what the outcome of it was. You know,
I think like it's more, if anything, it's less a reaction to cinema and more reaction to DVD, home, you know, Blu-ray sales and such, because that market's potentially dead now. Like, why would I go out and get a DVD when Tom and Jerry's come straight to streaming instead of going straight to DVD? Do you know what I mean? It's that's their bread and butter. Like, you laugh,
examples this evening, I've been absolutely knocking them out of the park.
You laugh,
Zane's on the cutting edge, folks. Bill and Ted 3 and Tom and Jerry.
That's their market, though. Like that Romeo and Juliet. That's another one that would have, made millions off home cinema release. But
the Trolls movie, what has this become? What has this podcast become?
This is their market. This is their world.
I understand what you're saying. So you're saying that they're trying to fill the gap, basically, that was left by the lack of DVD and Blu-ray sales by doing these on-demand services.
In a sense, yeah, but at the same time, like those films like Dread that did amazingly well in DVD, but never did essentially well when it came to cinema.
Love Dread.
Exactly, it's a fantastic film, but without those DVD sales, it wouldn't have been as highly regarded as it would have done if it was just straight to cinema. Like,
I mean, that's always. I think, I guess that's what we're going to see, isn't it? Because that's it's almost in a way not killing off, but like making cult classics difficult, because you always had that thing of like a film like Blade Runner, for example. The first Blade Runner was not a commercial success at the cinema by any stretch of the imagination, and yet it gained such an incredible cult classic following from VHS sales. And it's been the same pattern ever since with DVDs and with Blu-rays, and it's like, well, when they're gone, what fills the void?
I don't think Fast and Furious would have survived if there wasn't like DVD sales. There would never
excuse me. Of course, it would have survived. They have the family.
Also,
I personally, sorry, go ahead.
The last point I was just going to make is that we probably wouldn't have got a Snyder Cut if it wasn't for HBO Max.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, who knows?
That would have been a sell.
Well, let's all look forward to the Aya cut and whatever the Thor Dark World director name is cut.
I personally feel like we're just working our way gradually back round to VHS. And I personally miss the interactivity of having to hit pause, but like manually, like on my player, and wanting to record the exact segment that I wanted,
right? And
then pressing stop and then trying to awkwardly rewind, but going back several minutes instead of 1 second. I miss that experience.
I used to love it. It was like recording your own mixtape, but like
a mini tangent here. Mini tangent. I watched a DVD the other day, and do you know how long it feels for it to get to the menu, to then hit play, to then watch the movie? I felt like a lifetime. I was like,
this is gonna date me very much, but like
I generated halfway through that.
I miss turning on a film and getting the you wouldn't steal a car, you wouldn't steal a bike. Video piracy is stealing.
And we all know that you stole them both.
Exactly.
So, it didn't apply to you, regardless.
Thanks for revealing it on stream, where I could be recorded and used as evidence. Right. So moving on. Anyway, yes, we're very unsure about where the future of home releases will go. However, one of the knock-on effects of the pandemic and everything like that, and I think we can all agree on this, was that Comic-Con got absolutely mullered as a result of it. And so we had an announcement this week that the now annual DC fandom is coming back in October, and we've had a list of all the stuff that will be revealed there. So I'm going to very quickly go through this list of all the stuff that's going to be revealed there, and we can have a very brief conversation about it. All right. So we're going to get some behind the scene concept art from Batgirl, Blue Beetle, and Green Lantern. On the small screen, we'll be seeing something from Peacemaker. And then as far as the big boys are concerned, we're going to be getting some first look footage at Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, The Flash, and it's also been confirmed that the first full trailer for Black Adam will screen, as well as the new teaser for The Batman. I personally, speaking on this one, last year's The Batman trailer from Fandom is one of my favorite trailers of any film I've seen ever. I absolutely adore that trailer, and it completely overhyped me for this film. I could not be more excited to see it. What are your guys' thoughts? Drac, I'll start with you because I know you are a mammoth Black Adam fan.
I? Just because
Yes.
just because we
Yes.
potentially share a namesake, but maybe not.
You've modelled your whole look on him.
I've been talked like The Rock now. I sweat blood. Yeah, no, I do like.
He's been on a jungle cruise.
He likes jungles, that lad. I
He
can't help
really
it.
does.
He just
He really
like,
does.
like, we're making a movie about a jungle. Who are we going to call? Dwayne Johnson. Hello,
He has been. I've just realised he has been in a ridiculous amount of jungle-named films.
He has. Yeah, he genuinely has. He must sweat a lot.
I think the rundown was actually called "Welcome to the Jungle" in this country,
And that was the first jungle movie.
Yeah.
So literally, like, welcome to the jungle. This is The Rock's life now. This is where he trains.
Sorry. Anyway, Black Adam and DC fandom.
I've always liked anti-hero characters, and recently in DC Comics they have they've made him part of the Justice League, and he seems a lot more. They've made him kind of repentant and not that kind of like slightly edgy anti-hero that we've always liked, kind of like King of. The name escapes me all of a sudden because I nearly said Wakanda, and that wouldn't quite be right. That's a different black. Panther. So
Great save.
Nice work.
Excuse me. Yeah, I cannot remember what the name of the kingdom is. Regardless,
Wakanda.
Obviously, they have made a conscious effort to kind of make him a full-on hero again. So I think they're going to make him edgy in the films, but not actually like a villain, as I think he kind of deserves to be. He is better as a villain. He is better paired with other villains. So yes, I like him a lot. I'm not surprised at all. We're way overdue on a proper trailer for that right now, as we are on many other DC projects, I think. As for the Batman, I've heard, I think it was the Batman, they've done some very early audience test screenings already, and the reception was incredibly positive.
Yes, it was.
And I think people describing it's quite scary or like very edgy in places. So I'm intrigued to find out. I'm told that Paul Dano, is it? That's
Paul Dano, yeah.
Paul Dano, sorry. Yeah, the guy who's playing the Riddler is especially chilling. Yeah. So I would genuinely love if that is the case. Because really that is a great character that is way overdue.
I want to see Batman working with the police for once, like properly working with them. You know, that's what I want to see. Like, I think that's the one thing that got me so hyped for that trailer in the first place. There's a lot of good things about that trailer, but like just seeing an active crime scene where the GCPD are, and then they're all just like, oh, Batman's coming in. Let's just walk out the way and let him do his thing. And then him and Gordon talking to each other. I'm like, this is great. Finally, this is what it's supposed to be like. This is great.
Work.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, exactly. Like, make it.
Thank you, Nolan.
He literally is. Well, he's called the world's greatest detective for a reason, and we never see that in the films. We always see him using some computer program, going, yeah, that's it. There you go. I've worked nothing out here. That's all thanks to Lucius Fox. Thanks very much, Morgan Freeman. Nice work. Well done. Whilst you're at it, give me a bit of sonar, yeah? Lovely. Thanks for that, mate. Did it come in black? Honestly. Anyway. Yeah. I can't. Panther. It's...
Does it come in Black Panther?
It's Kandak, by the way, is the
Kandak,
nation that you
so much. I nearly said Kazakhstan, and that would have been horrific.
That would have been awkward. Okay, yeah, that's a different film altogether. It's very nice.
I'm Black Adam.
Anyway, I think we can all agree. DC fandom was a bit of a surprise last year for me, certainly. I don't know about you guys. I am looking forward to it this year. I really am. What drag?
No, I am just less of a DC person than you both potentially are. I used to love DC, and I still adore comics and every creator that is underappreciated alongside it. But I have just obviously felt like many others that DC have mishandled their properties for years and years, and so every time I see one of these events, like I'm just like, okay, like what's next? What's going to be genuinely good? Like since Suicide Squad, now I've got a little beacon of hope. Black Adam is great casting. The Batman is shaping up to be great. I'm less sold on Peacemaker, but I think it'll be fun. And I know how much you hate Ezra Miller, but I am
you ruined my joke.
I'm a huge Flash fanboy, and I just want to see. Apparently, it's not Reverse Flash anymore, but I desperately want it to be.
I was about to say, like, did your love of DC die when they cast Ezra Miller as the Flash? Because that's when mine did as well.
Get Grant Gustin in there. Get GG in there.
Great, he's amazing. He's great, Gustin. The thing is, I really enjoy DC Comics. I really do. And Zane, I know that you're a big fan of DC for a very big reason. Well, his pecs at least, anyway. It's Batfleck for everyone who can't read between the lines of what I'm trying to say. Let's just get out there.
I sent you one email, and this is it. Like, this is all we talk about now. One shirtless email of Affleck.
When we get super big, I'm going to reveal that to all our listeners of what you sent to me, because it is. I'll tell you what, guys. It is. I mean, blimey, steamy. I think is the word.
It was just the Goodwill Hunting era Ben Affleck as well. It wasn't even Batman. It was just like, what do you think of this guy as a co-star?
Let me put it this way: he was sweaty and scarred. I think it was after their weekend away. So anyway, that's enough of that.
Emotionally,
yeah, I was. So after so let's move away from DC fandom. Then two of us are really looking forward to it. One of us doesn't care. Moving on.
Outrageous accusation.
Something that you and I will care about, Zane, very much. We're both a fan of this property, and I am very happy that they are apparently going to be bringing it to the Disney Plus streaming service. We're going to be seeing the return of the Rocketeer.
Oh,
they are they are developing for Disney Plus the return of the Rocketeer. It's going to be quite a different take on it, from what I can tell.
It's going to be a jet ski.
No, it's basically a reboot and reimagining of it, and it's got. I'm gonna slaughter this name. My apologies. It's David Oyelowo circling the lead role for it, and yeah, it looks like. I mean, he's a great actor. I've seen him in a lot of stuff. He is really, really good. And it was written by the guy who wrote Now You See Me and Jessica Jones. So
cool.
It's got some all right writing behind it. So it's going to focus on a retired airman who takes up the Rocketeer mantle, which is about as generic as you can possibly get for a story. So we'll see what it is. But I just thought I'd drop that piece of news in there because I know I am a huge Rocketeer fan. I recently rewatched the film with my wife, and she loved it as well. So it was like, yeah, this is winning on all fronts. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Zane, on that returning? Drac, I don't really, I don't really care about your opinion on this one.
Wow, hurts. I'll see you around.
I think this is a perfect time for it, really, because like we'll be able to see some real cool CGI, like flying movements. Like if we learn anything from Iron Man, like all three Iron Man movies, no matter how terrible some of them may have been, there's some great flight sequences in some of those movies. And if a guy with a jetpack can't have great flight sequences, then don't take my money. Like,
well, yeah, exactly. And if that guy can repair his jetpack with a piece of gum, I'm all for it.
There's steam coming out of it.
Do we know if it's still set in World War II or?
It doesn't say. It literally just said it's in development. So I'm not sure when it's set. They haven't given any more details apart from he's a retired, a retired pilot who finds the jet suit. So yeah, nothing more than that. But just thought it was a nice bit of happy news for the weekend, Zane, that they are working on it.
Thanks for that.
You're very welcome. Speaking of the streaming service and Marvel, Moon Knight is coming up. We have been confirmed, obviously, that Oscar Isaacs is going to be Moon Knight. It is sweet. Get your speculation hats on, boys, and brace yourself for this one, because Mark Ruffalo has been spotted in Budapest, and there are rumors that the Hulk is going to appear in Moon Knight. What in the sweet baby Moses is he going to be doing in Moon Knight, guys? Drac, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. Yes, that's me. That's my name, isn't it? That's my moniker.
Yep,
so I don't know. I think that's really intriguing. I think there is possibly going to be a natural tie in there between She-Hulk, and we know that he's going to be in She-Hulk, and then it'd be great to sort of tie this universe together in a sort of Defenders kind of way eventually. So maybe there'll be a Jennifer Walters kind of representation tie over there. I really don't know. The Moon Knight historically has not had really anything to do with the Hulk character, or very little apart from just kind of turning up in team up books. I can tell you that the most recent Moon Knight series that they've released is only about 2 or 3 issues in, and it is great. In my opinion, it's the implication is that there are 2 fists of Khonshu. So he's the right fist, and there is a left fist. And the left fist is not happy with what the right fist is doing. Yes, I'm not intentionally putting it like this, ladies and gentlemen of Undisputed Nerds.
Ladies and
it's just coming out like that.
Welcome to Undisputed Nerds After Dark.
And it is funny this crops up because I'm actually rereading a quick story arc that I enjoyed with the Avengers, where the Moon Knight basically manages to single-handedly take out essentially every single Avenger, including Thor. Yeah, it's a bit obviously like there's a bit of a roundabout way to achieve it, but I think it's really fun, and he basically absorbs or needs to absorb the power from several Avengers. So he even goes to Iron Fist, and he takes the Iron Fist, he takes Thor's hammer, he takes the power of the Phoenix. Like he gets all of these juicy boys, and it's. I'm so sorry. I don't know why.
I apologize, guys. I don't know where he's going with this.
Michael Scott were here, he'd be very.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly.
But
right. Well, let's talk about power absorption later, because that's something that we'll talk with later on in the show.
I was offering some background there, but I'm very much looking forward to the series. I've seen a couple of videos of like him bouncing around on set on wires, and it looks really great.
Zane, what do you think the Hulk is going to be doing in Moon Knight?
I know someone asked him recently, Mark Ruffalo, and he said, I can't say too much or else it'd be giving it away. Giving something great away, I think.
He doesn't care about that. What are you talking about? He streamed half of Thor Ragnarok in his pocket.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Khonshu asked Oscar Isaac to meet Professor Hulk. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know whether it's going to be like the only thing I was thinking of is maybe there's going to be I don't know if She-Hulk is coming out before Moon Knight or Moon Knight is coming out before She-Hulk. I'm not sure which way around it is.
I think it's She-Hulk first.
The only thing I was thinking was that maybe because obviously in the comics, She-Hulk, I say obviously, for people who don't know, She-Hulk gets her power in the comic books by having a blood transfusion with Bruce Banner, who is her cousin. And I'm wondering if maybe there's like, I don't know, maybe it's like a time thing where Moon Knight and She-Hulk take place at the same time, and something happens to Jessica Drew, and then Jessica Drew. Wait,
Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman.
Which Jessica Drew? Which Walters? Thank you, Jennifer Walters. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, something happens to Jennifer. This because of what's coming up next. That's why I started to think about Spider-Man. Yes. So Jessica Walters. Yeah, something happens to her, and then maybe Bruce Banner goes on like I don't know, like for lack of a better word, like a pilgrimage to try and find something to save her before realizing the only thing that can save her is his blood. I don't know. That is really stretching because I have no idea why Hulk would be in Moon Knight, but that's about the only thing I could think of.
Maybe Hulk looks like an Egyptian god that he has to try and fight.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Simple as that.
Hulk's in the what's the fighting pit that Abomination's going to be in drag in Shang-Chi. Hulk's in there with Moon Knight.
Yeah, entirely possible. Set in Macau, as it turns out. So you never know. They're on the other side of the world.
Spoilers. Thanks for that.
Everyone in the crowd is of a different ethnic origin. I think it's reasonable to say it's somewhere in the east.
Well, there I was thinking it was going to be in Shangri-La, and then you've just ruined it all for me now. So there you go. Anyway, well, I won't bother going to see that now. You've just given the whole plot away.
I've given away Macau.
I can't believe you've given away
the farm.
The whole plot of Shane Childs. I'm really disappointed in you. Right, so guys, moving on from there. Whilst we're talking about TV and Marvel, I am excited to see the Hulk in Moon Knight, whatever does happen. If he does actually turn up, knowing Marvel, it'll be like a throwaway thing where he's probably getting a pastry or something from a local store that Moon Knight just happens to walk past, and then everyone goes, "Oh, it's Hulk," and then that's it. That's all there is. But anyway, talking about TV series, I think we can all agree here that Daredevil is one of the best adaptations to not the film with Ben Affleck. Sorry, Zane, but the show is one of the greatest conversions to TV. Yes. Charlie Cox was recently asked about his potential of appearing in No Way Home, and would you like to hear the exact quote that he gave?
Does it start with "They are not my forearms"?
No, it does not. It does not start with that. It does not start with that. Let me just try and find what the source was for this.
I think I've heard this. It is intriguing.
Yeah. It was on the Steve Varley show. That's where the source comes from. So this was the exact quote. So he was asked, "Are you in No Way Home?" And he goes, I also. It makes me. I wouldn't want to ruin something either way. It makes me a little anxious in that regard. It's a difficult thing to talk about. All I would say is, I guess everyone, myself included, is just going to have to wait and see what happens.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
thanks, Charlie.
You couldn't get any more non-committal of I don't want to say something that's going to get me fired if he tried. I'm basing that quote. I think he's definitely in it. That is such a that's the same kind of quote that Willem Dafoe made right before they announced that he was basically in it as Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Are we seriously thinking he's not in it now based on that?
In costume, I don't think so at this point. But I think it would be a nice bit if he does turn up in that scene from the trailer, and maybe it's listening for the heartbeat to tell a lie kind of thing moment. So it's just clear that there's a hint that he's playing that character and he's not just Matt Murdock. That would be my guess and my wish, and I would be more than happy with that with everything else that's going on in that movie right now.
Zane, he's definitely in this, isn't he? Come on.
I'm not 100% sold. I've seen conflicting things this week, like him saying those are not my forearms. I wouldn't get your hopes up too much, but we'll all have to wait and see. Like
I did like that because the site New Rockstars, who are an amazing group of talented people on YouTube,
they are.
They did a breakdown analysis of the trailer, and they did say this definitely looks like Charlie Cox because he's got the same hairy arms. Oh, that's charming, isn't it?
Thank you, Eric Voss.
Yeah, that's very nice of you. Wow, I'm sure Charlie Cox loves that. So yeah, anyway, I really hope that Matt Murdock turns up in No Way Home. I really do.
Love to see him in it. Like he deserves to be in that universe. But
I want him as Matt Murdock, and I want John Bernthal back as Punisher. Those are the two that I really. Oh, and Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Those are kind of the people I would want back. 100%.
And David Tennant as Purple Man. I would be happy with that
as Kilgrave. Yeah, I mean he's never going to do it again, probably. But
but that's a good character.
It is it's a very twisted character, but yes, it's excellent. So whilst we're speaking about cameos and films, still in the Marvel universe, so Doctor Strange. There's been rumors coming out this week that apparently there's going to be 2 featured cameos from 2 big Loki characters.
Oh,
so
okay.
Those Loki characters, apparently, the rumor is we're going to see Sylvie, and we're going to see everyone's favorite, Mobius, apparently, in Doctor Strange. I have no idea where they would fit into what is sounding like it's going to be an absolutely jam-packed film already. I'm wondering if this might be an after-credits scene. Possibly.
That would be my guess. That would be my guess too.
That we're going to see the ramifications from in the TVA. But yeah, so I mean, Drag, you pretty much confirmed that your thoughts on that. Zane, what do you think this cameo might be?
Yeah, I think what we know, Loki's going to be in Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness, so he's going to have some sort of story arc to carry himself through. Also, like, I feel like Doctor Strange is slowly becoming like the Spider-Man theory. Like, we've had so many theories thrown at Spider-Man, like we're starting to throw at Multiverse of Madness now. Like, we got to see Mephisto. We got to see Magneto. Like, we got to see, like, do you know what I mean? It just feels like this.
I mean, we'll probably talk about some of that in the Doctor Strange, because it's obviously this week's What If is heavily Doctor Strange. So we'll talk about a bit more in that, I would say, around the speculation of stuff, because there is quite a lot in that episode that could potentially tie into No Way Home. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's kind of, once, now that all these, it's what Marvel do. They just throw names out there and then just have us speculate against the wall. Does that sound right? I don't know if that sounds right. But
I think, like, the other thing as well, like, the hype of the first movie, like 5 years ago, was non-existent. Now for the sequel, it's just like beyond, like almost comparable to a Spider-Man movie, which is crazy.
Exactly. I know, it's mad. It's mad. But well, hopefully, I mean, we'll see what comes of it. Yeah, my guess would be an after credit scene. Drac, I think you're agreed on that, aren't you?
Yeah, most definitely.
Oh, we lost him for a bit. He's definitely agreeing with that.
Where it sounds like
he's back.
I'm
good.
I'm nodding. I'm nodding in spirit and physically.
Yes, no, you're back. You're back. It's good. It's good. We lost you for just a momentary moment there, a momentary moment, if you will. But anyway, yeah, more people being jam packed into Marvel movies. It's all crazy. Speaking of jam packed into Marvel movies. Our last bit of news today, guys, is a film that I know that, Zane, you know I'm so excited for. Can you guess what it is already? Just by that reaction?
I mean, it's either the Eternals or I'm clutching this.
I am actually excited for the Eternals now. I will say that I am actually genuinely excited for the Eternals.
I'm pumped for the Eternals.
Well, guys, the certificate rating for Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Of course, Venom.
Yeah, the thing I'm most excited about in the whole world. For those of you who can't hear the sarcasm in my voice, it's officially out. Would anyone like to tell me what the certificate for Venom, Let There Be Carnage, featuring the serial killer Cletus Cassidy becoming Carnage for the first time, and Venom eating people? Would anyone like to tell me what the rated certificate is for it?
No.
I'm going to guess a 15.
It is a PG-13.
Wow.
So, I mean, my expectations for this were not high. They are now even lower. I do not care at all about this. The only thing I'm interested in this film is Woody Harrelson. That's the only thing I'm literally interested in. Yeah, it's come to light that the MPA has officially rated Venom, Let There Be Carnage PG-13 for intense sequences of violence and action, some strong language, disturbing material, and suggested references.
Wow.
Suggest my tongue down his neck.
I wanted to swear. I would suggest that this film is rubbish.
Yes, you're right. A bourbon biscuit. Yeah,
bourbon biscuit. Exactly. It's a massive bourbon. I mean, I'm not really surprised by this, to be honest with you. It just, I hate the fact that it's going to be like a family-friendly buddy cop movie. It seems between Venom and Brock, and it's going to be all like, oh, look, it's a red one. Oh. I hate it. I absolutely hate it, and I think it's a terrible direction to go in. Sony, I hate you, Sony, right now. I really hate you. You're just, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life, Sony? So I hope that Feige comes in and takes this over as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously like in terms of Marvel movies, it's nothing new, is it, to have that kind of that rating and to want to kind of swerve into that direction. But I think there is definitely ways where you can give the idea of violence without really giving the rating. I mean, if you watch Far From Home back, the fight with Mysterio on the bridge is actually very brutal on Peter. Like he gets tossed around and very seriously beaten up. I
guess there is a discussion to be had about whether or not the Oh, we've lost track. There is a discussion to be had whether or not the ratings. Welcome back. The ratings actually are what they used to be, because when I think back to like 18 films, I think of like The Thing or like Aliens or stuff like that, where the violence was super intense and stuff. But then if you look at films like The Suicide Squad that just came out, that is I think we can all agree, the Suicide Squad was extremely gory, like really genuinely gory, and it was only a 15.
Oh wow!
So I'm really genuine. I was genuinely surprised by that, and the reason why they gave that was because it was according to the BBFC, they said it was because it was violence in a comedic setting. Sure. So it was a comical kind of violence, which I don't know if I would agree with, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, the bit when King Shark literally rips a man in half was not funny.
Not that funny.
No, exactly. Yeah. So. Maybe it will be more violent than we think, and it's just that the censorship has like lapsed a bit. But still, a PG-13 rating is not. You and I are wrestling fans, Zane. We know what PG-13 does to the product.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first PG-13 film I ever saw was the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Like that was a PG-13 movie, because I think it's because of William Dafoe's demise. Is quite
brutal.
Yeah.
I also think like his.
Oh, we keep losing drag. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird situation to be in. Where welcome back, drag. I think the PG-13.
Whenever I stop talking, it starts.
Yeah, basically the internet hates you this evening, drag. It just wants you to stop. I think the wasn't that the same film as Spider-Man, the first one. It's where doesn't Willem Dafoe liquidate like his like board members and they just turn into skeletons on that balcony.
That's very true. Yeah, comedic violence.
Comedic violence, exactly. Yeah, nothing quite. And obviously the sight of Willem Dafoe's horrible goblin face without the mask. That's enough to terrify anyone. Those poor children. I feel sorry for them. So there you go. But anyway, what I was not looking forward to in any shape, way, or form, Venom: Let There Be Carnage, I'm now looking forward to even less. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a fitting way to round off the news on a big downer by saying that Venom's going to suck, guys. It's going to suck, and you can hold me to it.
I want to say that I am looking forward to it because I didn't mind the first Venom film at all. However, I will say that I am incredibly biased because at the end of the day, like I grew up adoring the Venom character and the Carnage symbiote as well. So, what?
So did I.
Oh,
so did I.
I just all I could see were your stunned faces. I thought my mic was off.
No, I mean I'm gonna after that comment, I'm gonna pretend it is for the rest of the podcast. My God, man, I love Venom. It's one of my Venom and Carnage. I said to Zane last week the one of the nice things that they've done with this is it does look like the Carnage symbiote is inside Cletus Cassidy's bloodstream. It looks like it's actually in him, so he has to cut himself to get it out, which is a great callback to the comics of the early 90s when they did that. And I love that. I think that's fantastic. But I can still objectively say this film looks like a big pile of poo.
Well, so did Wonder Woman. So, I don't really have anything else to say to that. 84.
Sony fanboy. Right, so anyway... that concludes our news for this week, guys. If there's any articles that we've missed out or anything that you want us to talk about, please let us know and contact us through the usual means. We're here to talk about the main event now, though, which is episode 4 of What If, featuring what if Doctor Strange loses his metaphorical heart instead of his hands. That is actually what the thing is about. Sorry, just to be clear. I haven't just made that up. So what we'll start with, we do our usual undisputed or disputed. What did you guys think of this episode? Zane, disputed or undisputed?
Move on to Drax first. I'm still
wow, you've had all this time to think about it. You're still deciding whether you liked it or not.
I'm
Drax, undisputed or disputed?
I have to still go with undisputed, but with some disputed, a little sprinkling of sputed in there.
Disputed. Oh, don't say that. That's horrible. I am undisputed the whole way. We'll start with me then. I loved this episode. I thought this episode was amazing. I think I tend to kind of I resonate much more with the emotional storytelling of stuff, and when it is a personal stake that I can see. So the whole idea of this episode, guys, is Doctor Strange, when his origin revolves around him having a car crash, and basically his hands are destroyed, completely destroyed, so he can't be a surgeon anymore. So then he, in a way to try and fix himself, goes to what's the name?
Kamatage.
Kamatage, thank you. He goes to Kamatage to learn the mystic arts to try and repair himself, and in doing so, becomes the Sorcerer Supreme and blah blah blah. So this whole what if instead of him losing his hands, he's in the car with Christine, his love interest, and she's the one who dies, and nothing happens to him. And for me, I like when it's a situation like that where I think about people who I care about and people who, I can identify with going to any lengths to want to save them or to help them, and that side of things. So I loved this episode. I thought it was really well done. The only part of it that I thought started to get a bit hokey was when we get into the he split in two situation. So should we start like going through the episode and breaking it down a bit?
Yeah.
No, I did really enjoy it. I think I'm on a very similar page as you, actually, Jeej. So I live for that face. I live for your face.
I hate you right now, Rack.
I think what was most important for me was like in the Doctor Strange that we know from the main MCU, he was humbled in a way before he started studying, whereas this is a Doctor Strange that has gone through grief, but it's like a grief for someone else. It's not a grief for something that he like physically lost. So in a way, he has maintained that arrogance by like through and then got the power. So having the split idea is a bit hokey, but it is to show that like juxtaposition on screen. Like this is what we meant. This is like two levels of arrogance, which I think is going to tie into No Way Home a little bit as well.
Yeah, so just to kind of go through the events of the episode, guys. So obviously the car crash we see with Christine happens at the beginning in the exact same way that it happens in the film Doctor Strange. So if you've seen the film Doctor Strange, it's basically the exact same thing that happens, only Christine's in the car and she dies from it. That's the character by Rachel McAdams. Then he still does his training, as Drax said, in Kamatage. He still does the bargain with Dormammu. All of that still happens all the same. What then happens is it's 2-year anniversary of her death. And he's a little bit sad. Oh, he's a bit remorseful, isn't he? Oh, he's full of grief. So what does the good doctor do? He decides to use the Infinity Stone, the Time Stone, to go back in time and try and save her. And he does this over and over and over and over and over again. It's almost like his own personal hell, basically, of how many times, no matter what he changes, she always dies.
You say that. I was thinking more Groundhog Day. I was like, is this like the Doctor Strange edition of Groundhog Day? Like, it constantly repeats.
What if Bill Murray was Doctor Strange?
I distinctly remember the car crash scene in this What If, where it is the groundhog driving with him and Christine in the passenger seat. I do distinctly remember that. It was a hell of an episode. So anyway, it gets to the point basically where he can't save her no matter what he does. She always dies, even if he's not involved and just stands her up. He always dies. Like she always dies. Sorry.
Also, just a little caveat. I don't know why the first time he went to do it, that indicating would make such a significant difference. Like I was just like, what? Like surely you would do another route, like your third attempt. But I was just kind of like, it feels weird that. They would waste screen time and thought time.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think the idea was to make it, because at that point everything looks the same. So maybe for a casual viewer, it's like, no, this is different. Like it's going to play out exactly the same way. No, it's not. He's doing the same things, but then he makes a crucial. Because what if is all about one crucial decision that changes everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not sure why. Because the logical thing was like, well, why didn't he just like, I don't know, why didn't he put her in a padded cell or something like that and make sure she could never get out? But regardless. Once she dies, we get the return of Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One. I think she was in the episode a little bit earlier, but we get her coming through. Yeah, amazing. And this is one of the kind of like, this is a new part of MCU lore, really, isn't it? Which they tap into their Doctor Who, and it's a fixed point in time that cannot be altered.
Point. It's an absolute point.
Oh, sorry, it's an absolute point. It's not a fixed point.
Cease and desist from the BBC.
Oh boy, God, the nerds are going to come after me, Zane. They're going to come after me. I can't take it. So this is an absolute point that cannot be changed, and in doing so, if they do try and change, or they do manage to change, will cause the collapse of a universe. How they know that, I don't know, but hey, it's the Ancient One. Just go with it. So. In Doctor Strange's ultimate wisdom / arrogance, he ignores it because he has to fix it and fix Christine and bring her back. And then the Ancient One just attacks him because, why not?
I mean, she's a Force ghost at this point. Like, what?
No, she was still alive. She was still. It's weird because they do this trippy thing. She is a Force ghost later on, but like at that point in time, she's still alive because like it's weird. It seems like using the time stone returned him to his own time. It didn't actually return him. Like it didn't phase everyone else out. So it's still within his own time stream. So it goes back to when the Ancient One's alive. But it gets weird anyway. So he gets zapped. And then he's I can't remember exactly how. I think it's from some of the readings in Kamatage, but he knows that he has to go to the library of Cagliostro. How do you say that?
Mm-hmm. Cagliostro, yeah.
Cagliostro. And he's greeted by the librarian of Cagliostro, who we get a nice little callback to the old. It's Dr. Mister. It's Strange. Who am I to say? And then Strange, we get an amazing sequence of him spending what seems like centuries learning how to absorb different demons and creatures and use their powers for himself. And he starts with a garden gnome, which I thought was particularly good.
Just a ceramic garden gnome. A ceramic garden gnome with a knife and fork. Like, let's start off small.
With a fishing rod.
Have you heard like how people online are calling the insect that he doesn't absorb the bug supreme because it has a
yes. I saw that somebody was calling it an alternative version of Strange. It's like a bug form of Strange.
Yeah,
I love it. I absolutely love it. I hope that's true. I really do.
I definitely was not ready for the face lasers. I have to say, like that was an unexpected absorption for me.
Yeah. Stick insect Strange. I've got it. Perfect. There you go. There's the bug form of Stephen Strange. I think the interesting thing as well about this whole sequence was the return of Portal Tentacle that we last saw in Peggy Carter.
Shugamaru? No.
Could be Shumagorath.
Shumagorath, there it is. That's why he's here, folks. That's why he's here. He brings the big names. I think there's a lot of... I can't remember if Shumagorath is... I know that he has his own dimension, but aren't there lots of like creatures like him?
Not in his dimension. It's kind of implied that it is just him. I think. Like, right. I don't know whether he destroyed everything else, but it's the idea of like, it's just him. I believe anyway. But it's been many years since Shumagorath has had a big arc.
Yeah, because Shumagorath is very, very heavily rumored, and it seems extremely likely that he's going to be in the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So seeing him pop up, seeing, tentacly, goodness show up here, it does kind of lead to the idea that, it probably is. He's probably going to be involved in that, I would guess, at somewhere along the line. Anyway, he absorbs all of these things, and it basically turns him bad. And then we get this reveal that this was the point where I was half out with this one, where it's revealed that the Ancient One split him in half. And there's a Doctor Strange who carried on the good path, and a Doctor Strange who went on this bad path. And the only way that the bad Doctor Strange can be all powerful is by absorbing the good Doctor Strange.
Of course.
Because comics.
Yeah, because comics, exactly. I mean, yeah, and then to cut a long story short, guys, they have a fight, which is a great fight between the two Doctor Stranges.
Mm-hmm.
A bad Doctor Strange wins, brings Christine back, which causes the entire destruction of that entire reality. I did particularly like when he did absorb good Doctor Strange and then manipulated the time stone. It turned from a green gem into the red gem because he was manipulating reality instead of time now. Did you notice that?
Interesting.
I didn't clock it, but that is entirely possible. Yeah, interesting spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think some people, I think I've seen online, have referred to the bad one as either
it was
Supreme,
wasn't it? Sorcerer Supreme, wasn't it, or something like that?
Strange Supreme.
Strange
Supreme. That was it.
Yeah,
that was it.
I knew it's a combination of each half, but I couldn't think of which one.
Yes.
But yeah, it was. It's probably the best fight sequence we've seen so far. Again, I'm not quite sure why there was so much time on two capes fighting. It just felt like wasted screen time, to be honest. I was like,
I liked it.
I mean, it's great. I like the idea.
Cape Supreme.
Fight. Yeah. Cape on cape action. But
all right, isn't this PG? I thought this was PG-13.
Not for the first time, yeah, Jesus.
But
two capes, one cup. I'm sorry.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
What does that even mean? Just get a dodgy video of somebody spilling wine on a curtain.
They're just having a coffee together. That's it.
Oh, there you go. Okay, cool. Good. Carry on, Zane.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I thought the fight sequence was actually pretty well animated. It wasn't my favorite thing I've ever seen animated, but it was well done. I felt like Benedict's voice acting got better throughout. It was almost like he kind of went in warm by the end of it, where the first felt like one-time takes where he's like, oh yes, let's go out to this, what's Wheel of Fortune? Oh, like
creme brulee.
Yeah, creme brulee. It felt very wooden, which is weird considering he's done so much voice acting beforehand. I'd expected a little bit more from him, but what does he get? He probably did it all in one day.
Yeah, we expect more from you, Cumberbatch. Get your S together.
The other thing I thought of whilst watching this as well, I was like, I wonder if he mocapped, even though they didn't want him to, because again, he loves to do mocap stuff. He asked to do like Dormammu, apparently.
I know, yeah.
So it's just kind of like, I wonder if he's there just going, absorbing all these different creatures going, oh. Like,
that would be amazing. It was from his days playing Smaug, wasn't it? Once he had that little taste of mocap, it's like, I'm a dragon. It's like, that's it.
I'm a method actor now.
How do you think he mocap the gnome?
Exactly. Or the snake that he absorbed.
Just a lot of vision.
Yeah, either way, like I thought it was decent enough. It was more the Uatu interactions, because we've gone from no interactions from him and getting involved to 2 in one episode.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, I think that this episode really does the thing that was most different from this episode before was all of the cast with the original cast, and they brought back everyone. Like this wasn't just like we've got most of the cast and then there's somebody filling in for Chris Evans or whatever. Like all of the original cast of Doctor Strange were back for this, like all of them. And I would say we mentioned it and we touched on it very earlier on when we talked about Spider-Man. I would say that this might be holding some of the potential, I said that weird, potential keys to unlocking the mystery of why Doctor Strange is such a jerk in the Spider-Man trailer.
Yeah. I've heard lots and lots of theories about that particular thing.
Because he doesn't die. That's the important thing to remember. He does not
Yeah.
die at the end of that episode. He's just in a reality bubble, basically, as the whole universe has collapsed around him. But he doesn't die.
For sure, and I think that is going to quite naturally come back around to the whole multiversal Avengers thing. Like in the trailer, like it's no secret. Like I don't think you see Strange himself, but you do pretty much see like T'Challa and Star-Lord and Captain Carter, and I think Black Widow's in there as well. So they are going to come together. And I think the thing with Uatu is like historically. He's the Watcher and he's sworn not to interfere, but he basically interferes. Like I think his most famous and original interference was giving Mr. Fantastic the ultimate nullifier to sort of beat off Galactus.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to come to that eventually. It's just like, all right, I'm going to put all you guys together and you're going to fight whatever they decide the end boss is going to be, be it Ultron with the Infinity Stones or maybe something along those lines. I've not seen some screenshots, but nothing solid.
The for what his job is in the comics, he should have got fired a long time ago. He's terrible at being a Watcher. He always interferes. I will say this as well. Can we please also refer to him as my wife refers to him, which is as the big-headed baby? Because that's what he looks like. If you ever see him again, he looks like a big-headed baby. I like that there was a moment of pause between the two of you then where you were like, oh, yeah, actually, he does look like a big-headed baby. But yeah, okay, so let me ask you guys this. Do we think, speculation hats on, do we think that Doctor Strange in the No Way Home trailer is evil Doctor Strange, who is somehow going to use Peter to manipulate the multiverse?
Personally, no. I'm not on that page.
I do not think, because why would he? If he's in that reality, he's got everything he wanted. He's got Christie, he's got... Maybe
the only way he can do it is by, I don't know, because there was a
Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not something cataclysmic enough as his identity could, it could. There might be, because I guess we'll probably find out. It's they're linking everything through to timelines, aren't they? So maybe Spider-Man's timeline moving forward, because he's obviously. We've had these discussions. Sorry, I'm getting way too. I've got so many things going through my head at once. I was all broken. Moving forward, the MCU has lost Chris Evans. It has lost Robert Downey Jr. It needs big hitters to replace them, and Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Whatever people think of him, and whatever you think of whether you think Maguire is the better Spider-Man, which you're obviously wrong about, but let's just move on from that. He is amazing as Spider-Man, and his Spider-Man is insanely popular. And so, Disney have done a deal with Sony to extend the Spider-Man license into the films. So Spider-Man's going to be around in the MCU for a very long time. And my only thought was maybe it's Spider-Man's timeline that is so ingrained in what is to come that by messing with it, you could theoretically break down the walls of reality. And that may be what this guy is trying to do.
I see.
Because he can obviously, maybe he's trying to escape from the reality bubble that he was stuck in. And so he's found some way of, I don't know, maybe it's not his physical body, but like maybe he's influencing Strange's mind to do this in the first place. But by that token, it could be Mephisto. It could be any number of other dimensional beings like Shumagorath. That's how I need to say his name from now on. Because there was a thing that somebody pointed out in the trailer that when you see him doing the spells, his hands aren't damaged. So he's got those lines down his hands from where he's had them reconstructed. Yeah. So the spells when he's doing the whole, they're not actually. He doesn't have the lines up his hands.
So I think that'll be a post-production thing.
Yeah, because they haven't. He hasn't worn gloves since that Thor cameo. Well,
that's because they look terrible.
He doesn't wear gloves in Infinity War or anything.
So. He was doing the washing up.
Yeah, it was his marigolds. They weren't his actual gloves.
Exactly. Sorry, Thor. You've caught me at the worst time, mate. I'm absolutely covered in fairy liquid right now.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, Drac, were there any as far as the demons that were concerned that he was absorbing in order to gain more power, was there anything hidden in there that we kind of might have missed? Because there was a very Ghost Rider-esque kind of demon that he absorbed, which I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be the spirit of vengeance that I can't remember the name of now, like, or what, you know, because he did suck up a lot of evil.
he definitely did suck a lot of evil. No, I think the name of the spirit that inhabits the Ghost Rider, I think, is Zarathos, from what I can remember.
That was it.
I honestly, when I was watching it for the first time, I was waiting for that. I was literally going to be that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where I'm just like pointing at the screen and being like, "That's that," like, was exactly what I did when the collector mentioned Hela's Necro Sword. I geeked out massively. You have no idea like how I reacted when that first came on. But unfortunately, no.
I would just like to point out at this point in the podcast that that week that happened, I was hosting it with another friend of the show, Rinsler, and I received what I can only describe as extremely harsh criticism from Drac that we didn't know anything about Riri Williams, and we mentioned the Necro Sword on the episode that he wasn't on. So I would just like to point that out and say, here's your chance, Drac, go for it.
No, I'm above that, actually. You know, G,
okay.
So you know,
okay, cool. You absolutely keep calling me G, Drac.
No, I loved it, but yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't see any hints. From what little I can gather from my own internet research, the kind of animals were kind of meant to be almost like Bast equivalents. So, like, you know, that's the Panther god from Black Panther, and it was kind of like similar animals from other religions. Like, some were saying there were like Norse gods in there. I actually thought the crow, or the raven, might have been meant to be like Odin's raven. Like, when it came up, either it's Hugin or Munin. But I really didn't see anything in there. But I've got to say, I loved the animation for that scene. I loved when he took on the characteristics. That was fantastic, and it kind of reminded me of Hercules for some bizarre reason. Like, can you see where I'm coming from with Hades? But I loved all of that, and I loved also the triple fake out with Cagliostro, where the guy was just like, "My name's Obeng," and they're like, "You're not actually Cagliostro, are you?" And he says nothing. He is Cagliostro. That is a moniker. That is the same guy.
It's the equivalent of Charlie Cox trying to deny he's in Spider-Man.
Yeah. I think he was the guy who also taught Victor Von Doom magic as well. Like,
yeah, Obeng. Like, when he said it, I was like, I've heard that name in the comics from somewhere, but I can't remember where I heard it. So I think you're probably right. You know, as a famous semi-sorcerer, I actually, when I saw him, I thought he was going to be like Daniel Drum, or like a relative of Brother Voodoo, because that staff that he was holding looks a lot like the staff that Brother Voodoo uses. And we know that Daniel Drum was Master Drum from the New York Sanctum in the first movie. So at some point, Jericho Drum is going to be, well, I would hope anyway, that's going to be the future replacement maybe for Benedict Cumberbatch's character. But I would love to see some crossover between the What If episodes and the main MCU. I don't think it's coming anytime soon, for sure. It would be really nice if that was the case.
You really don't think it's coming anytime soon?
Case,
that was the perfect time for me to interrupt right as he gets cut off on his mic. That was great. Are you really? Because I can see this. I can see this tying into like Multiverse of Madness quite a lot. I really can. I can see this being like I think the tentacle-y thing is going to come back in Multiverse of Madness. I genuinely think it will probably be Shane McGorath who will be the. I think I called him Shane then. I think it'll be Shane Gorath.
Shane Gorath.
You know, like Shane Childs. They're all coming back. All the Shanes are attacking at once. But I think he's going to be. I think Shumagorath is going to be quite heavily featured in Multiverse of Madness based on this, because they wouldn't keep bringing him back for no reason. And we already kind of have an idea that Ultron is going to be the big bad in this with the Infinity Stones. Like, that's already, you know, the theory that's out there. So why would you keep throwing in this tentacle monster? And it is the same tentacle monster. Why would you keep throwing that in there if you weren't planning on using him? And the fact that this is. It's quite a nice in-depth view of what Doctor Strange could have been like, in the sense of like not dealing with grief and not accepting things as the way they are. which I think will probably come into No Way Home, because he won't be able to deal with the fact that he made this mistake, and then it will go into Multiverse of Madness. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get like Evil Strange turning up at some point. I really wouldn't. I think that to say that they won't mingle with the main MCU would, I don't agree with that necessarily.
I think this would just based on what you said. I think if anything, this would probably set up for something further down the line, like a Loki sequel, or maybe Captain Carter coming into the MCU, like, because Captain Carter is a bit of a fan favorite. Like, even though her first episode wasn't like everyone was waving the flag for, she is still a fan favorite sort of thing. So if anyone's going to be live action, I would imagine it'd be her out of all of this. But similar to Drac, I don't think it will have like a massive ramification on live action. If it does, it'll probably be another Disney Plus series.
Yeah, and I think sorry, go ahead.
The last bit I was just going to say, I think it's more self-contained in terms of, like you said, with all the tentacles referencing back. This is like the 4th episode. It's referencing the first episode already, and there's 9 episodes. Like, I think it's going to be self-contained with, and some of the footage from the trailers where Captain Carter does interact with Supreme Strange and, like you said, the army of Ultrons and stuff. So I think that's going to be self-contained for it to live off.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I just don't. I think that I'm not saying that What If is going to have like, it's not going to be like Loki level of ramifications throughout the MCU where it changes everything. But I'm saying that I think to dismiss it and say that stuff that's in What If may not show up in Multiverse of Madness, I don't think that's going to. I think there is going to be stuff that will pop up in Multiverse of Madness, whether or not it's earth shattering. That's another question. But like, I really can see something coming up in this. It'd be funny if it turns out that no, it can't be. That's a weird time loop. I'm going to cut myself off before I go any further with that sentence whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was fantastic. I really did. Aside from the splitting part, I think this is probably up there with the Guardians of the Galaxy episode as probably my favorite in the series so far. I wasn't such a huge fan of last week's one, as Zane well knows. And then the first episode was fine, but it was just basically a retread of Captain America. I mean, Zane, are you of the same thinking as me in terms of this one?
I think this one was better than the majority so far. But then this is a turning point in a season because there's 5 episodes left. So it had to do something drastic anyway. So, yeah, I think this is the best one. I don't think it's incredible. Again, it still has its teeth and issues, but yeah, it's better than some, I'd say.
And Drac?
Yeah, I think for me, like where it fell down this week, and not to say it wasn't great because it was, but it was the story aspect of it. But the whole concept, the idea, and the fight sequences and the animation were just fantastic, like from start to finish, and that's what I really enjoyed. And I think more than anything, one of my favorite moments of the whole season is how chill Wong was with being erased from reality. Really, I really appreciated that, just having a really casual conversation, like, yeah, cool, see you later for tea and biscuits. If reality is around, like, whatever, doesn't matter.
As I do an enchantment to protect.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah, I'm going to Deus Ex Machina you right now, so you don't immediately die to the incredibly powerful evil version of yourself. Oh, and also drop in the Vishanti there, which is like a big comic book drop as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
See you around. Maybe not.
That was cool. I was just to throw in as well, whilst we're talking about that effect. I did like. I think this was. I saw this on New Rockstar, so I cannot take credit for this, guys. So, but they did say that the dissolving of that reality, it looked a lot like melting liquid, and it looked like black liquid, like ink, as in like ink from the pages that were drawn. Yeah. So it looked like it was literally like evaporating from the comic book, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, I got that ink vibe from it because I thought this is different from dusting. Like,
yes,
Thanos dusted everyone away.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a nice, cool effect.
Yeah, Thanos went full janitor.
Plus, I thought Rachel McAdams' voice acting was brilliant. Like, I don't know why when I first heard of it, I thought this is like Catwoman talking. It's so like soothing and like, I don't know, maybe that's just where my mind went.
Adams.
But I
Creme brulee. I love Rachel McAdams regardless of whatever she's in. So even in Mean Girls, I still love her. And on that bombshell,
Even Mean Girls.
even Mean Girls. All right, well, there you go, guys. What did you, the norms, think of episode 4 of What If? What did you enjoy it? Did you think it was undisputed? Did you think it was disputed? Message us at nerds.undisputed@gmail.com. I've been reminded by Zane to say, because we've got 2 emails and he wants me to use that one. Get in touch with us on all the usual platforms. We are on YouTube, we are on Instagram, we're on TikTok. Zane, where can people find you? Champagne Zane.
You can also find me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. All those relevant links will be in the description down below. Also, we have a newsletter. So if you want to find out some more stuff from Undisputed Nerds, that's us, me, you, him. Feel free to check out our website, subscribe to our mail list, and you'll find some cool stuff such as our top picks of comics that are coming out this week. So if you're unsure what to read, you can have a little insight of what we've chosen. So feel free to subscribe. Just need your email address and you shall get a newsletter.
And Drac, where can they find you? Nowhere. That's all right. No worries. You don't even have to say it. Absolutely nowhere.
I can be found in a magic circle having tea and biscuits with a big blue magic raven.
as you would dissolve into ink.
Yeah, well, I face laser it.
And then, guys, you can find me on Instagram at Gentleman Gamer. You can also find me at Twitch, twitch.tv/Gentleman Gamer. I will be streaming every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And tonight I will be pooing myself playing horror games. Drac, thank you very much for joining us this week again, my friend. It's been a pleasure. I think it's probably not the last time you have seen him on the Undisputed Nerds podcast. We shall call him a recurring host for now. But yes, thank you for joining us. Zane, as usual, my darling, it has been a privilege and an honor that you have torn yourself away from Batfleck to spend time with us.
It's a tough life. But thank you both, gentlemen, for your company this evening.
Of course, thank you. Thank you for the invite.
It's been a pleasure. All right, guys, thanks very much. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.